So, hello seekers of fun once again, and this is the Retro Bear back with you, speaking to you from the gaming brothel. We don't usually come down here very often, but here we are today, and going to do something slightly different. I thought it'd be quite a good idea to update my one of my collection videos. So I decided what I'm going to do today, try and sort this camera pulsing if I can, is show off my NES collection, because probably around about best part of 2.5 years ago, I showed my really small selection of games off, as well as the console, and also teamed it with my Atari 2600 collection, which both are probably the smallest game collections I actually had at the time. So what I've decided to do today is now show how that collection has sort of developed. It's not developed a huge amount, but I've done a few things recently which I thought would be rather good to show off at the same time. So I hope you will enjoy this. Yes, it's a bit of a cheat video because I've done this before, but hopefully it illustrates exactly how many more NES games I've added since I last did this video. I'll keep moving my hand so you know I'm actually sitting here talking rather than going like that and you don't know I'm here, because I am here. There we go. Anyway, I've had my nails done for it, so as we can tell, rather nice. So, what I've been doing recently, last year, I bought some box protectors for my loose NES cartridges, and also for Christmas, Mrs. Bear bought me some box protectors for my NES cartridges, as well as some other ones. And so what I've been doing recently, because obviously I like to do these things fairly quickly, so you imagine from Christmas to May, what's that, 5 months I suppose, it's not too bad, is it really? I have an enjoyable evening putting plastic tat into plastic tat protecting boxes, which is quite interesting. And you know, I'm quite happy the way they look. They look rather nice, these protectors, so I could thoroughly recommend getting these. And I've still got 4 or 5 left over, which is quite good. So let's show you the first game. So I'll bring them out and stick them there, and then we can see. So the first one I'm going to show you here is Batman. Now, if I try and remember where these have come from, this came out of a pawnbroker's, probably pre-COVID, I think, this one. I think it cost me about £8 at the time. Made by Sunsoft. You can see it there. I'll just show you a bit closer. There we go, Sunsoft. You see a bit closer. There we go. Sort of Batman the game. See how precariously I secure that camera. It may fall over at any time. That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? So, yeah, so Batman. I think it's loosely tied in with the film. And I mean very loosely tied in, not exactly the same as the 8-bit or 16-bit games, but absolute no-brainer. I walked past it. I thought, you know what, this is when a time where I wasn't spending a lot of money on games or wanted to do that. So I think it's an absolute no-brainer for £8 as it was. As you can see, the label is intact. That's the one thing we do look for. Dana mentioned in his recent video that the logo on that video, top of that game box there, is awful. It really is. You can't really see it, but yeah. Well-renowned game, a lot of people know it, very, very highly thought of, absolutely thrilled to have that one. And again, you know, paid less than £10 for it, so I don't think it was too bad a price. Then we've got, now I can't remember where this one came from, which also might be the point out, this is Bionic Commando. Now I grew up in the 8-bit era, and Bionic Commando was meant to be an absolutely barnstorming conversion for the Commodore 64, but generally speaking, a lot of versions of Bionic Commando weren't all that great. It was updated a few years back on the PS3, Xbox 360, which I do own copies of both of those games, funnily enough. I don't know why, because they're so cheap. But I never actually played it, although I did play, I think there was also, it may not be the same game, probably the same game, I don't know. There was some sort of variation of rebooting the old side-on view as opposed to doing a new 3D graphically enhanced adventure. Neither of which I particularly enjoyed. It is a Capcom game. You probably can't see there's Capcom on it as well. And yeah, I can't actually remember where that one came from. Might focus, there we go. So we've got Bionic Commando on the top, like labels in good condition. That's one thing to look for, incidentally, if you are collecting or looking to collect NES games, make sure the label is in good condition. And also you've got that label identification at the top there, so you can actually see what the game is, so when you stack them or lie them flat or whatever, you can see which games they are. But yeah, so Bionic Commando, not quite sure where that one came out of. I'm usually pretty good where I can remember where things came from. Even more better than how much they paid, because that's very important. Now this one was actually a gift from a good friend of mine, Mr. Big Game Al himself. I think it was when he first met me, and he bought me a present. So we got Blaster Master, which I must be honest with you, since I've had it, probably get the best part of nearly 2 years. I think I've ever actually played this one before, so I can't tell you an awful lot about it. But again, I can tell you it's a Sunsoft game. But yeah, it was a gift, and you know, gifts are always very, very graciously received from YouTube. There's a label on top there, absolutely fine. It's very nice of Elle to give me that. Like I said, I don't know an awful lot about the game, but as you can see, as Elle being a collector that he is, he's looked after this very nicely done. And yeah, so I shall at some point, I'm sure, give that a go anyway. But yeah, so nice looking cartridge, that one. Now this one I got out of, I believe this was a cash converters. Fairly recently, again, I think this is probably post-pandemic. And this is California Games, which is a game I played on the Amiga years and years ago. It's a combination of different sports like surfing, BMXing, rollerblading, not rollerblade, roller skating, hacky sacking. Yeah, remember hacky sacks? Yeah, that sort of thing. That's how old this game is. By MB, who are more famous probably for making board games than anything else. But it's a multi. It's not say it's like a party game sort of thing. I'm guessing best way to describe it. And yeah, by Epics, we made a lot of these game series: Winter Games, Summer Games, World Games, etc. This one is probably one of the worst ones I've got actually in terms of label tops. I mean, there's a little bit of peeling in the corner there. Well, you probably can't see it, but a little bit of peeling in the corner, which isn't great. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun game to play. I mean, it got very well reviewed at the time. Depends which version you played. I think the 8-bit version probably better than the 16-bit versions. Certainly the 64 version, I think, is one of the best ones of the lot. But this isn't half bad. Not bad at all, this one. So yes, California Games. Again, I think I may paid a $5 for that. This one... Now, where did this one come from? That's an interesting one. Originally, it's a Defender of the Crown. By Falcon Software, who made... Is it Palcom? Sorry, Palcom. Is it Falcon? Palcom. This was actually a Cinemaware game back on the 16-bit systems. It's set in the sort of the Robin Hood days of old. Best way to describe it. And you're a rebel trying to overthrow the kingdom. You've got things like jousts and sword fighting and etc., etc., men in tights, if you like, that sort of thing. And I think this was up on Swap Shop, possibly. And there was a box copy going, and somebody beat me to it. In fact, I think we literally went at the same time, and I did the honourable thing and stood down, possibly. I can't remember. So somebody else got the box, which is why I managed to pick this up. I don't know whether somebody did donate this to me. If you did, then thank you very much. I can't quite remember, in all fairness. But it's a fun little game. I used to love the Cinemaware games when I was younger. Rocket Ranger, Defender of the Crown, Wings, that came from the desert, all sorts of great titles came out of this software. But it's like a little bit of different development. Strange to see it on an 8-bit console, must be honest with you. And again, label intact at the top. These boxes are great, aren't they? You see, I've got these nice fit. They're easy to put together. You can see down there some tabs there. So they come flat packed. And then what you have to do is fold the plastic, put the tabs in at the bottom to hold them in place, and then you fold over the top, and it sits there very, very nicely. Thoroughly recommend you can get these. They're about, anything between sort of £5 to £7 for 10. The more you buy, the better. This one came out of a gaming market last year. Where it was there with Eddie Rollercore and Daily Retro, and me and Eddie actually spotted a box copy of this. He said, get hold of that, he says, it's a good game. And the guy wanted £18 for it box, and we tried to knock him down to £15, but he just wasn't having it. His exact words were, it's too good a copy of the box, mate, to knock any price off. I think he might have knocked £1 off. So I didn't bother. So we found this around the corner loose for £5. And I'll quite happy take a loose game all day long. Again, made by MB. And again, nice condition copy as well, nice and clean, this one, which is good. You can see there it's got the label at the top. So yeah, really pleased to have that one. As Eddie said, it's a really fun game as well. Definitely worth it. Probably a game which most people, I guess, they would have heard of if you were a fan of the system, but maybe not at the time. I'm just trying to read the writing on that, though, it doesn't. But it tells you to use this with the NES game system, which is very, very important advice because it wouldn't fit the Master System, that's for sure. So there's Diggity Rock. Not sure if that works as a play on words. This one, This one. This one I think came out of old school gaming at Briley Hill. This is DuckTales, which I'm pretty sure everybody has heard of on the NES. I don't think there can be anybody who can't have heard of this game at all. We all know the cartoon series. We all know the theme tune. But yeah, this is just a fantastically brilliant platformer. There was a sequel as well, I believe. Was there a sequel? I think they said it wasn't a Game Boy anyway. I don't know. But yeah, everyone knows DuckTales. It got remastered a few years back for a short period of time and then disappeared. And now there was a physical release for the PlayStation 3, but it's very, very expensive to find. Came out of Capcom. We discussed this on the TMB podcast a few weeks back about games based about Disney things. We try not to try and avoid cartoons, but definitely we're talking about film, but cartoon games based around TV programs. Certainly out Disney was great. You've got Scrooge McDuck there on the front, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie. You've got all the characters on the top there. I can't remember his name now. Can't remember. Pilot bloke anyway. But yeah, there we go. So DuckTales, and again Capcom game there. Nice label on the top of that. But it's a really nice copy. This one. I said got it out of old school gaming. Really, really nice. It's nice when you find good copies of loose games. Sometimes all the labels aren't quite that. Now this is a game that I had originally with the system. When I bought my NES, I bought my NES off eBay for about 20 quid with 4 or 5 games. This is going back a decade at least plus. So what we got here is Gauntlet II. And again, I'm a massive fan of the old arcade game. Love the Gauntlet games on the 8-bit system. Bit of label peelage there, which is slightly disappointing. This one came out of software. It was usually an Atari game. This one, I think, the original arcade. And if you've not played a Gauntlet game, it's up to 4 players. You're in a dungeon. You go around trying to find an exit. Top-down view. You're shooting all sorts of different ghouls and grunts and goblins. You can pick 4 different characters: an elf, a valkyrie, a wizard, and a warrior. Some great sampled speech in it. Elf has shot the food. Oh, elf needs energy badly. That's the other one. Health badly. Energy needs health badly. Yeah. Elf needs health badly. Yeah. I usually hear that quite a lot when I'm playing it. I've also got this on the Game Boy as well. How bizarre is that to have that game on the Game Boy? Can you imagine playing on the Game Boy? That might be a good idea for a video. I don't know. As you can see, the label intact at the top. But yes, there was 2 Gauntlet games, and there was Gauntlet. There was a 3D version of Gauntlet. I'm not sure if it made it to the consoles or not. And there's Gauntlet Legacy as well. I think there's a game I've got on the PlayStation 2. I'm just looking over my shoulder as we talk. Yeah, Gauntlet Dark Legacy also came out as well. So, and I've also got Gauntlet on the Master System. So yeah, great little game, that one. If you like your old arcade stuff, that is definitely one you have to play. Now, one of my all-time favourite games, and completely found this by absolute accident on the Commodore 64 years ago, but I've discussed this before. You try and tell me if there's ever been a bad version of this anywhere. Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Offroad Racing, otherwise known as Super Off-Road, on other systems. And something. This is a great game. Again, up to 4 players, and it's not a top-down racer, and it's not a behind the car racer. It's sort of I don't know how to describe it really. It's a side-on racer. Tiny little cars going around little tracks and over bumps and picking up little nitro boosts, and you can pick up money and upgrade your vehicle and all that. And it is absolutely brilliantly playable. From the arcade game itself was a 4-player as well, a great big hulking machine with 4 steering wheels in front of it. But I've got to be honest with you, it's a fantastic game. It is absolutely well worth tracking down on any system. I played it initially on the 64, then I played it on the Amiga, then I played it on here. And it is absolutely brilliant. Honestly, fantastic entertainment. It's one of those games which people do tend to forget a little bit about, but when you mention it, you go, oh yeah, I remember Ivan Iron Man Stewart. Has anybody ever heard of Ivan Iron Man Stewart before this game came out? I don't know, but absolutely fantastic little game. And that I think that came with the console when I bought it. Here's another one that came with the console when I bought it. And this is Isolated Warrior, which, from memory, it's been quite a while since I played it, but I think is an isometric shooter. Sort of, if you play Paperboy or you played Zaxxon, it's that sort of angle, and you're going up the screen and you're basically shooting stuff. It's really good fun. It's a bit tricky as well. I find it tricky. It might be an incredibly easy go, and I'm just crap at playing them. But yeah, this is excellent fun, and again, probably a game not many people remember. But definitely worth finding out. Is this one of those games that was on the Rare Replay? Is this a Rare game? I don't mean rare as in it's worth a lot of money, because honestly it isn't. It's one of quite a common game. It may have been done by the software house Rare. I don't know. I might be getting my games mixed up there. Anyway, nice, good label on that one. You actually see what the hell you've got. But yeah, really, really good quality, really, really good fun game. This one definitely worth tracking down. Like I said, it's not going to set you back a huge amount of money. Here's a game I picked up from a car boot sale. Oh, years and years ago. And again, it's one of these great arcade adventures. This is Jurassic Park, and this is by Ocean. I believe this is a variation on the Amiga and ST and Super Nintendo version. Completely different to obviously the ones that came out on the Mega Drive and the Master System, and this is sort of a top-down adventure as opposed to the Master System and Mega Drive versions, which are side-on. And yeah, it's a very, very good game. Really enjoy playing this one. Not particularly good at it, but then again, am I ever good at any of these games? But yeah, I got this off a car boot. I'm pretty sure it was a £5. It came with the old black dust cover, and you'll know what I'm talking. I'll show you those a bit later. But that was quite hard to find, because usually most of these cartridges I've picked up over the years have not come with those. Initially to start with, although more I found going on, and because I've now got these plastic cases, the dust covers won't fit on them with the case, so it's a bit tricky really, but definitely worth a look round that one. Jurassic Park, anyway, that's it. And then this is, I got out of Vintage Gamer recently. Again, say recently, probably the last 12 months. I think I went in there, I said, look, I spent 35 quid, or 40 quid or something, that was it. I spent 40 quid, I said, let's make it a nice round 50. What can you give me to bring it up to that? And we went through a few things. So what are you thinking of? And I said, well, what have you got? Loose NES cartridge. I feel like a loose NES cartridge. He pulled out this game, which he had priced at 15 quid. He said, I'll tell you what, he said, I'll do it for a tenner. And I thought, well, you know what, I can't say fairer than that. Now, I have played this game only off emulation, and it is Kirbys Adventure. I'll just try to find the right angle. There we go, Kirbys Adventure. So, yeah, so that cost me basically a tenner. And I played it off emulation years ago. I really enjoy playing it. I don't own any other. It's my only Kirby game that I do have. No, tell a lie, I have Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii. I do tell a lie. But it's, you know, on the traditional old style, you know, compared to where Kirby started, NES, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, etc. This is the most original run, and it's the only one that I do have in that series. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And I do like the Kirby games. I know they are ridiculously classed as ridiculously easy, but I enjoy playing them. I like them. I think that they're good fun entertainment, which is what you want. And for a price that I paid for it, I don't think that was too bad at all. So yeah, Kirby's Adventure. Yeah, not bad that. See, I do have good games. People say, hey, you ain't got rubbish games, you only buy the rubbish stuff out the bargain bins. Not true. Not always, anyway. This came out of Cash Converters. I think I paid a £5 for it. I've got quite a few versions of this game now. It's quite an old one. It's really one of those creaky old arcade games. This is Marble Madness, where you have to roll a marble down a maze to get to the end. It can get more simple than that, but it's incredibly difficult to control. It's not the easiest game. Some people don't like this game at all. I can see why. It can be frustrating as hell. Again, by MB Games, which is interesting. But yeah, I paid a £5 for this, and again, I pay a £5 all day long for Marble Madness because I do like the game, and I played it on a couple of systems as well. It doesn't vary at all. The quality of the game, the ethos of the game, the major control of the game is the same across all systems. But very, very enjoyable fun playing. Get it? Yeah, it's cheap. I mean, yeah, what are you getting? A cheap game for a £5? Come on, stop playing all that 360 tat. Now this one, again, this may have been a gift, or I may have bought it. I should know what that is. This is a game I've been playing on the Rare Replay compilation weekly, so I know this is a rare game. And this is RC Pro-Am. which was a game I used to see all the time in the magazine, CMVG, Mean Machines, etc. And I think, do you know what? I'd really like to play this. And I had a go at it a few weeks back, and yeah, I'm not all that great at it. 1987, Rare. There you go. 1987, Rare Incorporated. If I see that at the bottom there, there we go. Rare Incorporated. Maybe not because the camera won't focus, but yeah, isn't that great? And again, it's a isometric view, but it follows the car around the track. It's really quite hard to explain if you've never played it, but it's one of these games. I'm guessing if you have an NES, you have to have this. And there was a sequel to it as well. Nice, good identification on that label there as well. So there we RC Pro. Good racing fun. I do like my racing games, as people know. I may have bought that. I don't know. I'm desperately trying to remember. Now, this was something which was sent to me. And this is, again, I think this came from... Did it come from... I can't remember. I think it was off the swap shop thing. I'm pretty sure of it. And this is Shadow Warriors Ninja Gaiden. It's more commonly known. It's by Tecmo. Quite late releases from 1991. I thought it was a little bit earlier than that. I have played this very briefly, and it's like most Ninja Gaiden games, incredibly difficult and hard to play. But look at that cover. I mean, that just is fantastic, isn't it? Really is. That artwork there, absolutely amazing. I love seeing things like that. That era, that late 80s, early 90s era, is just something else. Little bit of a label tear at the bottom there, but I'm not one of these people who's bothered about that. And as you can see there, it's got a nice identification on. Although it does say Tecmo and then Shadow Warriors. So I know some people, because you may have realised I'm actually doing this in alphabetical order by game title. Now usually what I do is whatever's on the label, it needs to go in that particular order there. So I may have to reconsider that one. Like I might have to reconsider this one. This is my most recent NES pickup, I think. I'm just going to quickly scan down this. Yes, this is my most recent NES pickup, and this is this one cost me again £5, and this is Silent Service by Konami, and it's a submarine game. Now I'm not sure if this is based on an arcade game or whether this is anything to do with the 16-bit game, because I have a Silent Service game, Silent Service 2 for the Amiga, which comes with a massive giant box and a Bible-sized manual. So I don't know. I've not actually played this one yet, but I've seen this quite a lot. I saw it last year at the Birmingham Gaming Market, and I think it was about £5 then. I think that's exactly what I paid for it a few weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, £5 for an NES game. I don't really care what it's to do with submarines. I'm going to pay that all day long. And if I get half an hour's entertainment or an hour's entertainment out of it, I ain't bothered about it. Again, I can't tell you an awful lot because it doesn't say anything else on the front of it there. So it may be to do with an arcade game. I just wonder what, seems strange. I don't think it's related to that Amiga game in the slightest. This one I got from Get Gaming up Gornal, which I've popped to a couple of times this year so far. And again, I think this was £6. And this is Stealth ATF, which is a combat flight game. I'm sure in the Top Gun vein. Again, I've not played it, so I can't tell you an awful lot about it. But again, £6. I mean, people think this is an expensive hobby to have. If you buy, you can. I've always said you can collect games. If you just want to get into playing retro gaming, this is the sort of thing you need to pick up, because it doesn't cost you a lot of money. You don't have to buy all the expensive titles and the big games. Yeah, you can do that. It's going to cost you a packet. But, I've always liked to champion the fact that you could buy old kit and old games, and you can do it without having to break the bank, especially at the moment. This one came with the console when I bought it, and I think I'm going to spend too much time talking about this one, because this is the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge. When I bought my console for eBay all those years ago, it came with a zapper as well. That's a fantastically robust piece of kit as well. If you never use a Nintendo zapper or even press the trigger on it, please do when you see one next. It's very, very robust. But yeah, probably this may be the most common game cartridge of all time. Maybe, I don't know. It's one of the most recognisable anyway. And those old Nintendo style labels on it, So that graphic there with the pixelated duck and the pixelated Mario, iconic, absolutely iconic. And again, nice thick label identification on the top. I may not have shown you the one on top of Stealth because it wasn't great. It's not the best one, but that's fine. They might fall over in a minute, so I'm just going to move those out the way over there. I know I usually drop stuff on these videos, but that's okay. Now this one is very interesting because this came from America. This came from a guy who I was getting on quite well with. He was collecting Wii in America. Oh yeah, there are at least a couple of us out there that do that, or I've done that. And he had a channel called Good Wii Hunting, and he used to pick up all sorts of stuff. He includes some really quite fantastic American market only. There was an, you remember the EA active sets? Well, there was and the UFC fighting games that came with the leg strap. Well, there was actually an NFL game, very very similar. I was hoping to try and track a copy now, but sadly he disappeared. Probably at the end, I think it was the end of 2019 or 2018. No, end of 2019, he just sort of stopped putting videos up and never came back. But he did a giveaway on his channel once, and he just wanted people to post a comment about the video. And as I was probably one of his most regular contributors, eventually he said, he's going to give it to me. So he sent this all the way across, I believe from Kansas. And it came with also a Wii game as well, which was, again, an only American, only exclusive. So this is actually an American cartridge, which is great, because you can't actually tell the difference between that cartridge and the other ones. But it is. Usually, obviously, there were differences, weren't there? I mean, the Genesis ones were exactly the same as the Mega Drive ones, but also the SNES ones are different, aren't they? So it's quite interesting. I was worked it out. So obviously that gives me a headache now because I need a system to play it on, but I do have a system to play it on, which I'll show you very very shortly. So that's Super Mario 2, and then just to complete the trilogy, and I did pay £10 for this from CEX. Again, I think it's probably going to go back to 2018 again. 2018, 2019 certainly. Super Mario Brothers 3. I'd sold a PlayStation to a guy at work, and his son was trying to get into retro gaming, and I said, well, he wanted to buy a PlayStation 1 from, I think it was CEX or an independent, and they were offering it. And I said, well, I could sell you one a lot cheaper than that. So I sold him one of mine out of my collection. Just leaves me with 4 left now. And with the proceeds, I went and bought. I thought I'll go and treat myself something nice, and I got this for a tenner. And to be fair, it's a nice looking cartridge. I mean, slightly different label on top there, which is not great. But yeah, really nice looking cartridge. That one, nice label on it as well. Looks like it's been well looked after. So yeah, that was a tenner. Out of CEX, that one. But yes, all 3 Super Mario games, which I have. Just got 3 more loose and two others to show you. This one again came out of Old School Gaming. At the same time I got DuckTales. It's Tailspin. Bum 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 bum. Anyway, and again out of Capcom. Not a great fan of the cartoon series, I must be honest. Not one I remember at all with much fondness. Baloo the Bear and King Louie out of Jungle Book. But yeah, again, nice little platformer. Nothing wrong with the game. The game's great. I prefer the game to the cartoon, really. And again, you can see he's got Tailspin on the top. But yeah, this one, I think it was came out on the Mega Drive as well. I don't think there wasn't a Super Nintendo version. Did it come on the Mega Drive? But yeah, again, Disney games just absolutely worth having. They were so good back then. They really were. And then we've got, I do a Wrestle Talk round table, so I need a wrestling game. So I have Tecmo World Wrestling. Now, this was one of my only sojourn into the world of CEX roulette, because it was £4, I think it was, loose. So they can't go wrong with a loose cartridge, can they? And they didn't. So that's what it was. But yeah, this is a really good wrestling game, actually. Most people get sort of sidetracked by the WWF titles on the NES, which, to be fair, aren't all that good, especially the first one. But this one is really, really good. Some really great characters in it, and yeah, it's just a good, authentic experience. So, absolutely, for £4 again, absolute no-brainer. This was again, this was the, I think it was 2020. This was pre-pandemic with Christmas money. I think that's why I did it. But yeah, that was good. And then the final loose cartridge I've got to show you, which is a game which for some reason is sitting on the bottom. I'm not sure why. I think because it's got oh, I know why. It's got T on it. Haha. This came with the console when I bought it. It's Top Gun. Most people are probably familiar with the fact that this game isn't meant to be particularly good. If anyone's watched the Angry Video Game Nerd video from years back, where he spends an entire video trying to land or take off in the air, land on the aircraft carrier. Obviously, quite a game which now may go up in value because Top Gun is back in the headlines once again with the new film. But yeah, generally speaking, Top Gun games are not very good. And I remember playing this actually when I first got the NES on my 42-inch television in the lounge, and Mrs. Bear going, "That looks terrible, turn it off." And it's not a great game. It's not a great game at all, but yeah, quite enjoyable. I say quite enjoyable. No, it's not enjoyable at all. No. Yeah, it's a cartridge with a game in it. So those are my loose cartridges. Now I am lucky enough to have some boxed games, just 2. You know, I'm not exactly going to be showing you off great wad loads here, but I do have 2, and slightly different stories both of them. First one I'm going to show you is Robocop. Oh, look at that box there. Bit of Nintendo cardboard on Retro Bear. How about that? Eh? But you never thought you'd see that. Now this is again ocean game. Obviously, I played Robocop on the Amiga. I played it on the Commodore 64 for whatever good that version is. I absolutely love that game. It's one of the first games I finished, I think it was, on the Amiga. And this is quite a good one. I mean, it's obviously box version. I mean, it's okay. We got the old superficial damage around the outside. I mean, it's, you know, this game's what, 30 years old. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? It's 30 years old. It's been opened in the right way. There's the cartridge, as you can see, in great condition. Really, really nice there. Obviously got the classic Robocop logo on top of that. So you can see it's really, really good nick. We've also got in here these black slip covers I was talking about, the dust covers as they're called. Now, I didn't know this until fairly recently, that these are actually in the boxes. So when you buy a box game, there technically should be one of those in there. And it also comes with a polystyrene, which again I only found out recently is quite difficult to find in there, which is always good. And we have a manual as well. Obviously a bit of a dog earring at the back, but generally speaking I think that's in bloomingly good condition. I'm trying to remember now how it all goes back together. But yeah, I didn't realise actually until now the polystyrene was in there. I should put that all away later when the video's finished. But yeah, I mean that there, I did pay 18 quid. Because one of those times where I thought I'm just going to treat myself a little bit. But honestly, I think it's in pretty damn good nick for the age it is. I think he's struggled. It's the best copy I've seen anyway. I've seen quite a few. It's probably the best ones I've seen. So delighted to have something a good example. Nice to have that in a set. You've got one of those in there. This one isn't quite a good condition, but again, I ain't so bothered about it. It's again Nintendo card, but I think it's come out of Swap Shop again. And this is a WWF game. This is WrestleMania Steel, WrestleMania Challenge. So you got your old favourites on there. You got the Big Boss Man. I'm going to wait for that to stop. Thank you. We got the Big Boss Man, Ultimate Warrior. We got the Macho King down there, Andre the Giant, of course, the Hulkster himself, in the middle, as opposed to being on the right. But yeah, it's again, this isn't. I said it isn't a great condition box, but I knew that anyway. And it does, says I. Yeah, we have the old dust cover in there. I'm not going to put it out because it's stuck. There's no polystyrene in that one, thankfully. Unfortunately, sorry. But yeah, there's the cartridge. We get a nice looking cartridge too. LGN game, which is always a sign. Again, if you watch Angry Video Game Nerd, LGN was never particularly a company associated with quality. But yeah, I tend to think this is as a well-worn but well-played copy to have. So it's nice to have that in the collection as well. So 2 box games. I know they're not exactly great things to write home about, but most importantly, it's nice to have cardboard because it's not always affordable, especially not at the moment. Now I mentioned the Super Mario Kart a moment ago. Just trying to move that away to stop the camera flicking. God, it's so annoying. You try and find the right angle. All he does, he wants to go pulse. All he wants to do is go like that. Now I mentioned about the Super Mario 2 cartridge, which is American one. So at the beginning of 2020, I was looking around Amazon of all places, and I thought, oh, this will be quite good. And I thought, trying to find something to spend some Christmas money on. I thought I'll grab this because it was only, I think, 18 quid at the time. And I noticed, I think last year, if you can still get hold of them, they're double the price now. But my NES is a bit temperamental. Let's be honest, it's a bit like me. Sometimes it can't be bothered to work, and sometimes when it works, it's put a half-assed effort into it. Really, and it needs a bit of a service and a bit of a tweak every now and again. So I bought this off Amazon for 18 quid, and it is the Retron HD. There we go. Oh, actually sit like that. That's good, isn't it? There we go. So this is the Retron HD console. Now, what this is it's set up to play NES cartridges. Okay. But what it will do is it will also play non-PAL cartridges. There's a switch at the bottom, so you press the switch across, and then you can play import cartridges on it as well. And also it upscales into HD. So really, it's a bit of a no-brainer. I do have a couple of issues with the console itself. I don't like the slot. Now, the reason is because when you put a cartridge in, it's damn difficult to get the thing out again afterwards. And in all fairness, you worry about damaging the cartridge and the console. So I try not to use it unless I need to. However, it's a shame. It's a real shame because I think if that cartridge slot wasn't so tight, it would be a bit better. I know some people have said it about Retron products, that the cartridge slots are a bit of a bitch if you're trying to deal with stuff and get things out of there. And I worry half the time that I'm going to pull half the console, I'm going to pull bits out of it, or I'm going to pull out the cartridge and the game circuit board is going to be left in the middle there, which is a real concern. But that's it. I mean, there is a joy of emulation to do it that way, but that's there really as a backup, so I can play at least Super Mario 2 on it. If I fancy playing games in HD, and I think for the price I pay for it, it's very good. Like I said, I think I checked maybe a year ago, and the price was certainly double that. I don't think you can buy these actually new now from Amazon. I think you have to go to other sources like eBay and whatever. I did see one in the shop the other day, which was quite reasonably priced actually as well. Unfortunately, it's got this dent in the box here, which came when I bought it. It was done as brand new, but it's made by Hypicking. There's the back of the box, remember. Quick look at that sort of thing there. I don't know, there's not an awful lot to see really. Can I open it up and show you the inside? I can try. There we go. So there you can see we've got the console in the bag. Let's keep everything as it comes, and there's the little controller down there. A bit of a clicky old D-pad there as well, you can see. So that's what you got for your 18 quid, which I thought was just a nice little thing. And it sort of sits out the way, and it doesn't take up a lot of space as well, which is always good. Because when you when you have space, it's good. When you don't have space, it's even better because you can, well, I can just stick that on there and it goes out the way. And that sits up at the top end of the gaming pantry where people can't see it. But yeah, there we go, and that's it. So that's another run through my NES collection. Like I said, last time I did a video was probably towards the end of 2019, and I think I showed off about 6 games and the console. I won't show the NES console because it means getting it out, which is always an experience. But I tell you that it's one of the basic NES ones. It's not one of the Mattel versions or anything like that. It's a bog standard NES. A system which I don't really have a lot of affinity for, but that has grown over the last couple of years certainly. And now you've probably seen 26 games today. So that gives you an idea that in the last 2 years I've added 20 games. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's basically one every month and a bit, which is definitely a lot better than it was the first time when I first had it, because I think I had it back in 2010 and I bought one game in 10 years for it. So that gives you an idea where you're going. Anyway, a bit of an interesting video. Hope you've enjoyed that one back in the brothel. might do some more of these actually, because I'd like to update some of my game collection and show you more. There are other systems I bought more games for since I did videos. So we'll see how that goes anyway. However, if you have enjoyed that, please don't forget to do that on the video. There we go. There we go. Not necessarily that. I mean, we can do that if you want to. A thumb. That would be nice. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to leave a comment, or if you are here back again, leave a comment. Love to hear what you think about that. Any games you could recommend. Any games in that pile that I've shown you there that I haven't played that you could recommend me playing. And indeed, if you are new and you enjoyed that, don't forget to subscribe. That would be fantastic if you could do that as well. But generally speaking, just to enjoy the video. That's all I ask you to do. I don't, you know, nice for people to come along and watch these if they do enjoy them. In the meantime, I will catch you again very, very soon. Until then, these are the Retro Bear's hands. Waving at you, doing jazz hands, and saying thanks so much indeed for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Till then, bye for now.